I want to go over why people lose. And it's not what you think. Okay? This isn't going to be another mindset thing or something that you just like half-ass listen to. I'm going to give you the real skinny after working with tens of thousands of salespeople, hundreds of marketers, in top world class, enterprise level, multinational, and industrial media, well, the industrial military complex, did I slip and say media? Outlook, because I've worked with all of them for a long time, and my origins come from that world. So what I'm here to tell you is that, yes, in addition to mindset, people tend to fail. But no, that is not the only reason. So let's break this down once and for all. There's two basic types of thinking. There are more, but the two basic types of thinking are fundamental thinking and technical thinking. Hence, the reasons why when people say working on your business, they mean fundamental thinking. And then when they say working in your business, that is technical thinking. So when somebody wants to make a shift, the reasons why they get stuck is because they're technicians. Being technical is not the vibration needed to make money. Being technical requires a higher level of complicated thought. Being fundamental requires a low but baseline foundation from which all thoughts can be technical. Because without those foundations, you aren't able to develop the holistic viewpoint that you need in order to shift your thinking. This is the reasons why coaching is supposed to work. This is the reasons why mentors should exist. But because higher level thinkers and communicators hijacked the narrative, now most of these words are considered worthless. Until now. So if you're stuck, it's because we need to develop more fundamentals. Because you already may be an expert at what you do every single day. But this quirky, hydra-headed, sometimes ominous, but definitely incestuous thing called marketing, for some of you, is not only a bright and shiny new object, but it's also something you shouldn't touch, like poison ivy or poison oak. There are some people who are just endowed to do this, so they break all the rules. But for everybody else, this is a skill, and skills can be learned. So let me tell you the other mistake right now, up front, as to why not only people fail, but they also get stuck. You've heard me say in previous recordings that exercise only works when you do it. I heard that from Beachbody. I might need to get an affiliate code as much as I talk about them. But exercise only works when you do it. Marketing only works when you do it. I have to say it just like that. I've seen too many people get hurt. They learn about marketing, and then suddenly they think that they can wield this sword of power and just swing it. they start developing this narcissistic, I'll show you attitude. Because maybe they were a doctor and they tried to learn marketing and then they got burned and they said, well, screw it. I'm going to become a marketer now. And then they start hurting people. You know, I've seen people squirrel out and change professions and lifestyles just because they're going after somebody who's wielded this sword of marketing wrong. So I'm going to tell you now, to end the vicious cycle, increase the peace. Because you're getting something that they'll never have. Accurate information you can take right now and go to work with. And eventually outmaneuver them. With not just love, but also truth. So I say that to say this. People fail when they don't stay in their lane. Stay in your lane. Take this marketing sword and use it as a piercing mechanism for your offer, your product, your service, and in your market or industry. Use it to add to your results, not take away from your ethics or your soul. So when you learn that you can be in the marketing world, but not of the marketing world, then you'll discover peace. You're just taking one powerful communication system and just supercharging whatever you're doing. That's it. Take that violent negative energy that you have and work to build better foundations of understanding, especially the ones that I'm going to reveal here in the Truth in Marketing. Because you're going to develop your own thought pattern just from synthesizing against this information. So there's no need for you to feel sorry for yourself if you've lost a lot of money, time, effort, or energy. So that's why I am, in a lot of respects, guru agnostic, because I will not judge them. They're not meant for me to judge. And I fell into that trap too. So I take another guru's course just to try to show the other guru, but realized nothing in between all of that, but discovered that I was the mark because I had ego charging into a lot of these things. So if you've ever been burned by a program before, or you've been injured by a guru, here's the piece of information that should release that energy. Understand how they got you to make your decision. And then become superior to that mechanism. Because once you're aware of something, like really aware, like you get the game aware, like you get the whole total sum of the parts of all the information part of it. Just like me, I have 24 karat gold around my neck. It's the purest gold out there. So when you get the purest gold of information that's out there, the 24 karat, then you can discover the quality of the information that you received, the impact of the information that you received at that time in your life, because I've discovered that some programs were just too advanced for me, and then I eventually grew into them. Or some of them were too elementary, but they served as reminders. So this is the type of framework I need you to walk through in your mind back and forth a couple times. Like, listen to this at least 10 times. Like, listen to this at least once a quarter. That important. And you will find that these words are going to shape shift based on where you're currently at. So be careful with this sword of marketing. Be careful about the people who you touch with this knowledge. Because what happens is, when they find out, they find out. And if they're not happy with how you've shown up, and they find a better curtain to have peeled back your bullshit because somebody was giving up better game and they exposed you, then you're screwed. So be careful with this sword of marketing. And be careful about the people who you touch with this knowledge. So let's go back a little bit. I'm going to have to ask you a silly question so that you can understand the thought process involved with winning. Now that things are opening back up, or now that things have officially opened back up, or now that things are officially operating in this new normal, when you go to the restaurant and that person asks you, would you like some coffee? And you say no. Do you think that they go back into the corner of that restaurant, wailing, turning red, in a heated sweat, crashing in between the corners of the walls and sliding down on their asses with their hands in their heads saying, oh my God, he said no. Oh my God, she said no. They don't want any coffee. I'm ruined. No! They don't do that. What they do is go, okay, thank you, or okay, no problem, and they move to the next person. That is how you should look at this mechanism, this framework, this structure, this strategy, this anatomy of what we call marketing. You should be in the position of not being emotionally compromised, very indifferent. So that way you can see the entire framework of what I'm going to teach you. And you can do it in a very neutral, unbiased position. I'm going to introduce you to the law of the Swiss Army knife right now. And this should help get your mind straightened out. The law of the Swiss Army knife is simply this. Everybody on the planet should know what a Swiss Army knife looks like. If not, research it real quick. But as you go through your mind right now and I ask you to think of a Swiss Army knife, what do you see? You see the corkscrew, you see the nail file, you'll see the tweezers, you'll see everything, and then eventually you'll see the knife. Some people see it as being red, some people see it as being blue. Traditionally, though, it's red. But you know the part of the knife that nobody ever talks about? They don't talk about that little red thing that holds it all together. And that's how you should be. You should be that little red thing that's holding all of these tools together. But you should also get enough wherewithal to see what tools that they were on that Swiss Army knife so that you can use them at the right time. So you can't do that if you're emotionally compromised. You can't do that if you're not neutral. Because it prevents you from maybe when you need the nail file, so instead you pull out the corkscrew and you impinge your thumb because you're twisting versus filing. That's how marketing is. You can easily squirrel out into the wrong hole in this game. So don't squirrel out. If you're a marketer right now listening to this, then you've got it even worse because you've been down infinite rabbit holes by this time, because you've quickly discovered that what I'm saying is beyond true. So for the people who've not gone down that rabbit hole, or the people who've invested in a few high-ticket courses that didn't work, then that's okay. Step back. In Thought Leader Academy, we talk about the half-second step back. It's that powerful. That concept has changed people's lives. It's saved lives. That's how powerful it is. So I want to honor that course, though, and get back to this one. So you've got to realize that if you don't take that half-second step back and look at that little red thing that holds all of those tools together, and just look at your life as that right now, you've got the rest of your life figured out, for the most part. But you've got this one little element that I'm slowly unpeeling back like an onion, right? If you're not in a position to step back, then you're going to fail at this as well. You have to develop not just an ability to not become emotionally compromised. You also have to learn how to step back. And you also have to use discernment. So forgive yourself if you failed at marketing. It's not easy. Never has been, never will be. It is advanced level communication. So getting back to the technician in people, that's why they're technicians. That's the reasons why you're schooled the way that you are. Because the more you're able to think, the more you'll become a technician. But if you look at some of the best things that have ever gotten you into a program or an offer or a product or a service, you'll see it was very simple language. You'll see it was very simple asks. And even in the golf industry, as hard as that is, and as competitive as that is, they still employ these same basic features. And when somebody in that industry is overthinking, they'll say something like, hey, sexy man over there, the one who's trying to drive at 300 yards, but you can't get past the woman's tee box. Yeah, you guy. What if I was to give you a 7-wood, but it swung 300 yards? Is that something you'd be interested in? You don't have to hit it any past like 85 miles an hour, and it'll go 300 yards. That's how they suck that super competitive market in, is that they go back to the basic functions of thinking. So you've been taught to be a technician all of this time. I cannot expect overnight until now for you to understand how major that shift is and how much of a drastic change you have to make right now. Because money operates at a low vibration. So the simpler you keep things, the more likely your audience is to engage. It's simple. but nobody said it was easy. So they spent the last 12 years in high school to condition you to do that. That's why they call it conditioning. They're creating an environment for you to not be able to see the top of this lid. And then from there, you drive it even further through college. And then from there, you go even further with even advanced level colleges. So this technician part of you can be infinite, but it's also creating machinery in your mind to make you become more robotic. That's why it's so hard to become a marketer. Because you have to have a level of creativity, rebelliousness, arrogance, everything that's completely opposite of what you've been shown coming up in order to make it. But that's until now. Because the true reveal is the new normal is however we define it. But that also requires us putting our values up front as a human being so that other people can resonate with us. That doesn't require you to be fundamental or technical. It just requires you to be real. And that's what the truth in marketing is going to show you throughout this journey. Yes, most of it will be mindset. Why? Because that's the mechanism that we need in order for people to take action. Because the mind is infinite, I can't put a framework on how much of this will impact that. But the little 10% that y'all worry about, the tactics, that's cool that you worry about them, but understand that tactics have an expiration date. I'd prefer to show you beyond marketing fundamentals that will always endure the test of time. I like to have fun. I'll do something trendy just because. But the cool thing about it is I know how to do it to a T. And that's what I want to show you. But in presentations like this, I'm making sure with intention that this will be around long before I'm off this planet. And that requires a whole different level of marketing awareness and communication skills and wherewithal. And those require fundamental foundations that we're going over right now. So when you get stuck, just remember, you're probably being too much of a technician. You probably need to pull back and make your mind malleable enough so that you can learn what you need to learn while unlearning at the exact same time. I will say this a different way. Just because something has made you rich and wealthy right now may not keep you there or grow you even further through time. Because this universe is always shifting, so must we. But there are thoughts and constructs out there large enough to still sustain basic time decay long enough for us to be able to create new thoughts and launch new marketing campaigns. And maybe some of the stuff that was evergreen before has now got burnt up in the forest fire because there was a major human paradigm shift. And that's what we're experiencing right now. So if you're failing, just remember that part. More fundamentals, less technicals. The fundamentals will give you bigger, better, stronger, deeper foundations. But let's not neglect technicals as well. This is how we develop a holistic marketing approach that our audiences can feel. Because when I'm marketing, I think one-to-one, but I also think one-to-many at the exact same time. So some of the top level marketers have been trying to figure out how I do that, and I will show them, provided that we have a fair exchange. But for the most part, that's how you should be thinking about your marketing. Both one-to-one and one-to-many at the exact same time. So if you're a technician, now let's up-level that thought one notch. So if you're a technical thinker, that means that you have to develop bigger foundations. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to create space. So don't become emotionally compromised. Don't get butthurt if I come at you super direct if I'm working with you either in group or one-on-one. Because sometimes I have to drill and blast that space to make it even wider and get you upset and get you angry because you're in your comfort zone. And you're being that selfish to where you're not willing to run from first base to second base. And for the ones who did run to first base and second base and then you got burned by a flame-throwing bullshit guru, I get it. That was a meteorite that should have came out of nowhere. But understand this. I got you, boo. We're going to channel that dark energy. And remember, dark plus dark equals light. Negative and a negative equals a positive. A positive and a positive equals a positive. A positive and a negative equals a negative. A negative and a positive equals a negative. Those two in the middle are called cognitive dissonance. It's when the curtain and the rugs don't match. So that's what you're missing when you're failing. There's something that's a kilter. And we have to correct that. That's why you either have to make a yes or make a no. Because the marketers own the middle. They know how to play that. So when I'm coming at you, I have to come at you in that angle because you're expecting to be all kumbaya with you, but yet I'm calling you out and cussing you out, and it's challenging your ego. So marketers know how to do that. They know how to move you to action because there's pain there with cognitive dissonance. And it's our jobs to uncover it and convert people so that we all have an all-win, even if you think that they're an asshole. I know some of y'all hitting the fire button right now. You ain't got a lot to kick it. I love you. So that's what marketers understand. They understand the edge. They understand that middle band right there that I'm talking about. Because you can be so far negative to the point where you fall off the map. And you can be so far positive to where you float off the map. But all the action is right where the edge is. It's in the middle of physics, what I just told you. That's how this game is played. So the only way that you can play it is to have a malleable mindset and live on the edge. And you can play both edges at the exact same time. That's too advanced for y'all. Some of y'all, not all y'all. So we got to realize that. Your audience is a simple creature. They may be positive, but something negative is happening to them. Or they may be negative, and something positive is happening to them. And they're waking up like, oh, do I really deserve this? Because they're so negative. And that's where some of y'all live right there. Like you've got the real deal in front of you that you're listening to right now. And it's been almost a half an hour. And I've shifted up so much of your belief to the point now where you're like, oh, I deserve this? Yes. Yes, you do. It's funny because when I create that space, it's like your mind goes, what does the dog do when it finally catches the car it's been chasing? Because anybody who's been in the hood or anybody who has seen a loose dog, they always chase after cars. And they never get them. But what if you catch this car? I've just created space for you. I've given you one of the biggest secrets in marketing. Right there. Cognitive dissonance. I've explained in detail. Positive and negative equals a negative. Negative and a positive equals a negative. That's the reasons why that negative and a positive equals a negative. Because I'm being positive right now. I'm like, yo, I'm going to shift your life up in here, up in here. And y'all like, I don't know if I can do that right now. Are you kidding me? Like, it's that simple? And then you got to do work. So then you shift from a knowing problem into a doing problem, because in this mechanism right here, you've got automatic accountability baked in. Like, you can't escape this now that you've listened to this. Surprise, you can't pause and rewind this because this conversation is just that deep. You can't erase what you just heard. So now I have shifted you officially from a knowing problem into a doing problem. Now you know. And now you got to put in the work. And I know what to look for. So now you've got baked in accountability where you can't hide behind family. You can't hide behind religion. You can't hide behind your environment. Now, legitimately, some of y'all can still hide behind conditions. And I'm going to claim that's where I draw the line, because I can't go over the edge on any condition. That requires way too much legwork, way too many resources that I'm not willing to put in, nor are you willing to spend to invest. But even then, there are shortcuts, and I know them. So the playing field where you're at right now is completely dialed in. So now you have to step out and actually do the work. Oh, sugar honey iced tea. Fred's laying it out for me. Yep, I sure am. Because I wish somebody would have done that for me. And nobody could. And I've worked directly with and for some of the biggest names out there. Because they get it. It's how they're able to make their millions while creating jobs. Even if you don't like them and you hate them. They're still doing more than you. That's why some people get upset about marketers. But again, don't be that waiter trying to impale themselves on the corner of a wall, and they can't because the wall bends. It doesn't poke. But it still catches you. So when you hit that wall, stand up, lean in, and take notes. Because that's where you're at right now in my process. This is where you develop that grit, that resiliency. But more importantly, give yourself a hard reset right now. Do yourself a huge favor. If you don't have a whiteboard, go grab a whiteboard. I promise you it'll be one of the best investments you've ever made. And literally when you get that whiteboard, write down all of your failures. Oh, dang, Fred. They take up more than a whiteboard. That's okay. Because you're going to get into the habit of physically writing things out and physically erasing them. And there's something about the power of that ritual where when you've written it out, and I especially like to do it in red, and then you watch yourself erase it, that's empowering. Because you've just controlled that thought. Thoughts are things. So you pulled it out your head, you put it in the physical universe by writing it out, and then you took an eraser and just made it go away. Who had control of that? You did. So I am being the light right now. I'm being positive. Some of you are flipping into positive right now. So guess what? A positive and a positive equals a positive. This is physics. I'm giving you the framework, a lower level framework of what it's going to take for you to step into your brilliance. You're welcome. This is it. And when you start wrapping yourself around this framework, you start putting on the shield. You start getting a different energy. Because now you're operating from a place of empowerment. And once you finally run yourself ragged and you're tired of writing this out, whoever screwed you, write it out. Whatever program that you took and failed, write it out. Put it in green. Don't put it in red, put it in green. And when you put it in green, take a picture of it. Oh, man, I'm seriously giving y'all some big-ass game right now. You have no idea how this is going to change your life. And when you take a picture of it, that's going to be your energy that's going to motivate you to take this information and create transformation in your situation. This is big. And if you really want to, for extra credit, really go far with this, print it out. And if you really want to crush it, like seriously, frame it. Keep it by you. This is going to be your why. You have now shifted all of those negative thoughts and have created a treasure chest of emotion. I've just given you extra light. And we did the alchemy of transforming the dark into the light. This is going to inspire you. You're going to say, and that's exactly why. And that's exactly why. And that's exactly why I am working an extra 2 hours, is because if I knock this one part out, I knock out that one person who pissed me off. And I'm doing it out of love. Thank you. I made a lot of money doing that. Thank you. Who's next? I have used this technique so many times. You kill them with kindness. You love the hell out of people. And the energy is just completely different. Like, I'll give you a recent example. Somebody screwed somebody I know out of a lot of money. It was 5 figures. It was a lot of money. And the person ghosted him. I wind up seeing him 6 months later. I already had him on my list. So I didn't even think of like why they were ghosting us and dodging us, because we did really well after that, was in revenue, killing it, blah, 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 right? And we're like playing golf. And I'm just minding my own business. I'm cool. You know, it's a celebrity golf tournament. We're out there doing what we do. And I run into him again. And he proceeds to give me the most incredible story, because we had people in front of us waiting. He gave me the most incredible story about why he couldn't do it and why he ghosted him. Blah, 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 blah. I'm looking at him like he's crazy. Like, okay, like, that ship done sailed, bro. Like, we're way past that point. Because I didn't even think of it. It wasn't something that was gnawing at me. I had taken the energy and I flipped it to my advantage. That's the edge. And you could literally see them exploding. I'm like, who cares? And what? I'm here to play golf right now, weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where it goes. Because I had so much control over my mental real estate. Not anything else. That's my mental real estate. Nothing has meaning but the meaning I give it. Period. So when I kicked down that door and I rechanneled that energy, it was like, bro, okay, you done? Like, we gonna go hit? Like, because I had no energy on it. So I could have stayed there all day. And because they had energy on it, they were the ones who were vibrating, not me. So these tuning forks weren't tuned. And it was more negative for them. That's why a positive and a negative equals a negative. I was still positive. I'm like, okay, like whatever. And they were negative. And the outcome was still negative. Nothing changed. There was no phone calls after that. You see what I'm saying? That's how powerful these marketing strategies I'm going over with you really are. They're more life specific. Sure, we're going to go into landing pages and all the other crap that y'all want to talk about. It's cool. I get it. We need that stuff. That is so super essential. I will honor anybody who calls, like, hey, when they want to learn a tactic and somebody tries to shift it, that's when I go, okay, guru mode, that's bullshit. Okay? So what you're saying, I want to honor and let you know that that's super important. I'm talking about strictly from the programming part of your mind where if we don't talk about this stuff up front, then I can't hold you accountable for what results you should get. So that's where I'm focused right now. Because I cannot belabor your winning. You just listening to this once has already shifted your DNA. And that's what you're going to learn here. You're going to learn how to shift energy. That's all we're doing as marketers. I'm explaining this middle part of communication out loud to you so that you can understand that when we're writing, when we're communicating, when we're speaking, however we're doing communication, we're going to put way more intention on it. We're going to bring out more of our why. We're going to smack the flavoring into our words. We're going to sauce up our expressions. And then we're going to make this one beautiful sentence stew that when we serve it to the public, they know that there's secret sauce in there. And then we're going to attract the traffic that we want. And then we'll be the Pied Piper of our space. Not somebody else peeing on our leg and telling us that it's raining. That's what we're covering right now. But the only way that you're going to get there is if you forgive. Is if you let go. And you cultivate a malleable mindset. It's the only way this is going to work. Because once you get those elements of the programming in place, we then can have transparent, invulnerable thoughts. And once we've created that space for transparency and vulnerability to reign supreme, then we start generating the right feelings towards all of this stuff. And as a result of us generating the right feelings about this stuff, we start making the correct assessments to take correct action. And that's how we get the results. That is the process of manifestation that happens every single time some of these top marketing systems in the world work. Thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. But the way that we get there organically and in proper energy is by handling our programming. And that programming has come from other people's thoughts, our responses to people's thoughts, influencers like our moms, dads, politicians, people you see on social media. All of that affects our programming. Because that alchemy of the programming is beliefs and paradigms, and we don't have time to get into all of this stuff right now. But what I'm telling you is that that is the part that we are working on right now just by you listening to this. We get that right, we start creating the right thoughts, which generate the right feelings, which allows us to take the right actions so that we can have the right results. So you're either going to learn from people what to do, or you're going to not learn what to do from people. You're going to either take your failures and reframe them into winning assets, or you're going to succumb from your wounds and have multiple liabilities. You have now officially shifted from a knowing problem into a doing problem. So my challenge to you is to just let it go. Close your eyes right now. Hold your hands out. Like that. Get the right weight down. Get the right weight. Get it there. Feel it. Get it right there. When you feel the weight of that one problem, I want you to spread open your fingers if you haven't already. And just watch that problem ooze out of your hands, out of your mind, and watch it run down the street and into the drain. You're done. There is enough micro space right now for you to go back and do this one exercise. And really feel it. Really be in the moment. And then when you wake up tomorrow, set the intention tonight that you are going to emotionally pull away from it once and for all. You're going to lean into this training, and you're going to win. So in closing, I just want to say this. This is not going to be like any other marketing, sales, leadership, whatever y'all want to call it. This isn't going to be like any of that stuff. This is you. We're having a conversation with you so that we can accurately and spiritually just release your message to the world once and for all and get it right. So are you ready? We'll see.